What is going on, guys? I don't know if I can actually see the chat or not. Let's see. All right. I don't know if you guys stopped over and were able to see Fair Winds and Falling Seas, his live stream that he had going earlier. But I was on there. Oh, man. The sweat is real. I was on there. I don't know if anybody can actually. Oh, hey. Okay. Yeah, somebody is. can actually hear me. So. Oh, man. Currently. Currently, I am obviously under the truck here on the rear diff. I've had a number of different issues. Hopefully you don't hear Bella absolutely barking her face off in the house. But yeah, I've had some fuel issues, which is going to be a video. It's going to be coming out probably. At this point, I'm stacked up, so it's going to be a few videos down the road, I believe. I can't remember. Oh, cramping. But basically, no audio. Let's see. Hello. Audio is fine here. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh dear. We hear you. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just tell you all the symptoms, and you guys get a sneak peek at kind of what's going on with the truck. So, for the last, if Bella would please stop, I have had issues with my engine dying, just stopping. Coming when I go to take off, I have no pedal, I have no gas. Sometimes, let me back up. I'm sorry. I've already fixed the fuel issue, but basically what happened was when I would take off, I would not have power. When I would press on the gas, at a stop sign or something, loaded or unloaded, did not matter, and I would have a check engine light. And the code I would get was P0087, and that's a fairly common code, which is low fuel rail pressure, or fuel whatever. It's the common rail pressure, and that's very vague. Just because you have low fuel pressure. Oh dear. We are living the dream here, folks. I gotta tell you. All right. So this is gonna be a long pumping deal here. Where was I at? So the engine would stop or it would shudder to the point of like, hey, you might need to turn off the truck because this is a real problem. And it was very clear to me, I've got an air-fuel mixture ratio issue going on. And I know it's not the turbo because I just replaced it and it's running flawlessly. It's awesome. So happy with it. So very, very thankful for that turbo. I know it's not my air filter. I know it's not the air side. I've checked all air side stuff. I've checked sensor stuff. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes there will be points where we have a problem, but it's not actually related to that part. It's another part that triggers that, which, some foreshadowing, that's exactly what's happened here. Why I'm in the back pumping. But basically, I thought, okay, well, it's not air side. Maybe it's fuel side. Well, I checked my air dog lift pump, which I'm going to talk about that in a future video here. Oh, this bottle is almost empty. Oh, man. Thought it was my lift pump. Hey, maybe it's my low pressure side lift pump not pumping to my CP3 pump to then at 20,000 plus psi get the fuel to the injectors and make the party start. Grab a new bottle here. So So I replaced that lift pump for free because there were some odd noises. I had already replaced both filters on that lift pump. And so I'm like, all right, well, we should be good, right? And check engine light should go away. Code should go away. I should have the proper pressure to get to the lift to the to the CP3 pump. And so then I still have the same issue. It does not fix it. It is not the lift pump. It is, I still know it's not the air side. It's now not the lift pump. Now I'm thinking, oh dear. Lift pump is getting fuel to the CP3 pump. Maybe it's the CP3 pump going. Which is kind of weird because I still, as of yet, have not heard of one person, not even a friend of a friend, whose CP3 pump on a Ram actually died. I've only heard from people that it lasts for forever. And obviously the CP4 pump does not last for forever. Quite opposite. Which is why they're now, going back to CP3 pumps for the next year after 2 years of insanity, finding out the hard way. But basically, you guys are actually really helping me with this because it's taking my mind off of my thumb and my hand being actually murdered. But yeah, so basically, I'm thinking, oh dear, it's the CP3 pump. And I'm looking up all sorts of videos on YouTube. I'm looking in the forums. I'm looking online. What else could it be? How does a truck just shudder like that? Only when the RPMs kind of dip when I'm coming down from a high rate of speed. I have no issues when I'm out on the road at highway speeds. I have full power. I have no issues there. It's only at starting and stopping at lower RPMs, at lower levels of fuel, being pushed through on that lower pressure on the higher side pump. So I'm thinking, okay, what else could it be? So what's my real problem here? I'm not getting the appropriate amount of fuel at the appropriate time. And so after looking and researching, there's such a thing, because I'm not a mechanic and I'm learning and growing as on my own as much as I can. There's such a thing as a fuel pump regulator. Go figure, you're not sending... Oh dear. That's not good. Trouble in paradise, folks. There we go. There's a regulator that's important. Has anybody said anything? Nope. Okay, not for a little while. So, if anybody's still here, basically, I'm thinking, oh dear, there's a CP3 pump regulator. Now, at idle, I've had issues for hundreds of thousands of miles with a weird type of shaking, um, vibration, whatever, and I knew it was due to the engine or something on the engine going on. That there was, I'm obviously in park, for the night for 10 hours a night, and I've got this vibration going with that. So it's not the air side, it's not the lower end of fuel pump side stuff. And so I'm like, what is going on here? So I look into the regulator stuff. Well, there's next to no help on YouTube specifically answering and talking through a fuel pump regulator. At least it was helpful to me. Maybe other people have done stuff, but it was not clear to me. It was not a help. I have been researching and doing as much as I possibly can to figure this stuff out for our truck, for a Ram truck. Most of our drivers here are Ram drivers. And, thinking, okay, the more I looked into it, I'm like, everything that this is supposed to do is exactly what's going wrong. When these types of regulators go out, it usually starts, and they're more sensitive on the lower end where it's more on the idling side of things. It's not at the higher rate of speeds where things are wide open and it doesn't really matter a whole lot because you're absolutely, sending it, So, like, okay, So I looked up that part after, and it would also get worse with heat. The longer I would drive it in the day, the hotter things got, the worse off it would be. The quicker it would die, the more it would shudder, all of these different symptoms. And I'm going to be talking about that all in the video to come here that I've already recorded. But, so, yeah, we're still pumping away here. So, I bought that part. It was absolutely painful to buy the part because Rock Auto, you might have been able to save a little bit of money, but even on Amazon and then at the auto parts stores, it's about the same price, roughly 200-ish, 200 and some change, up to $300 depending on the make, the manufacturer. And so I got one for $250. Yeah. I got one for $250, and the thing is, it's crazy. You can see your CP3 pump just looking on your driver's side by your driver's side battery, looking down at your steering, your power steering reservoir. That's it. Which I've replaced that like once, the whole assembly just to knock it out. But you can literally see it right in there. But the problem is, I thought there's on this small little regulator, it's the size of, you can fit it in your hand completely, like wrap up your fingers around it. It's very small, it's kind of heavy duty, but it has an electrical connector on it. And basically, there are 3 T25 Torx bits on it, and they're basically, if you can picture it in your mind, there's one, the way it's the formation of it, how it's attached to the pump. There's one on top, there's one on the left side, and then one on the bottom. And the left side is towards the driver's side battery, or whatever you want to say. So there's 3 of these bits, that are in there. Originally, I thought they were bolts. When I put a flashlight down in there, no, it's not even a Allen. Um, it's torque bits. And so the real problem is that there's really no, even though you can see it, unless if you have a smaller hand than I do, that you're just able to work miracles on it. I had to absolutely cripple my hand and find different ways to be able to break them loose. I mean, sorry, not actually break them, and it was just very challenging. um, we are almost done with this bottle. Okay, new bottle. And so, boom goes the dynamite. Okay. And so, yeah, I have no nails, so. Oh, stupid little seal. Come on. Work with me. All right. So, work. Thank you. So, I don't know if this is even entertaining or if you're just laughing at me. I would be laughing at me right now. Oh dear. So, very challenging. Had to use 2 extensions for the one that's on top, for the one that's on the bottom, to even have a prayer. I'm just gonna rest my head here. Promise I'm not gonna take a nap on you guys. Basically, it was a nightmare. I did record the video throughout the whole process. I do have to finish the video because I did get my problem solved. That fuel pump, that CP3 fuel pump regulator, I'm probably going to be making a few different videos on it because there's nobody else talking about this stuff. Probably because it doesn't go bad until you hit ridiculous miles like we're at, or many of us are at, whatever. So that fixed that problem, but literally within the last 5 days, I've had these other issues. So that's kind of talking about my fuel delivery issue that I've already worked out. Couple hundred, $250 at the auto parts store. Maybe you can find it for cheaper. Next time I would probably just do Amazon and whatever. But so that's the fuel issue that I've dealt with for quite a while now, having all sorts of headaches. I have not had the truck die. I have not had the truck come close to dying. This is absolutely, I have power back. The response is back. I have no hesitation. Everything is as if it should be where it's at. I need something for my face here because I'm about to. Did you make a how to replace video? Yes, that is. Well, sort of. The way I made the video is, hey, I think this is the problem. We're gonna go find out. And so I share all my symptoms. I attempt to show you what you're gonna need to be able to do to make it happen, to actually replace the regulator. And then I'm probably going to make at least 1 or 2 other videos still talking about the process of finding the symptoms, knowing what the big hole, the gap that I see on YouTube in this area is people not knowing the symptoms of this particular part, and then them just, like what I did, changing out a lift pump, which is not the root cause. Now, my lift pump was having some issues after over 300,000 miles, which there's a lot more hours on that pump than you would think for the amount of miles. So I think I got my money's worth completely. Also, I didn't have to pay for it. I got a free pump because that's their warranty, guarantee, whatever. So all good there. Brand new lift pump out of it, but people throwing money at different parts when that's not the problem. You think it's an issue with your common rail, so you change some of your things, or maybe you even think it's one of your injectors. Worse, you pay for injectors when this is not even the problem. It's not a blockage or issue with your injectors. It's literally the fuel's not getting from the CP3 pump to your injectors, and therefore the sensor in your common rail, which is at the end closest to your dash, is throwing a code, hey, I'm not getting the proper PSI when I'm calling for a higher PSI. And so, uh, anyways, so yes, video to come, probably videos to come to try to fill in that gap and help people. Because, wow, this has been a absolutely tormenting situation with the fuel side of stuff. Because I'm like, dude, I don't know what else to do besides change fuel filters and just pray. This is craziness. And yet it's a regulator, which nobody talks about. They immediately say, oh, it's the CP3 pump or something different completely. So anyways, right after fixing all of that, though, in the last few days, I've had a growing, not right after, but additional to the fuel side of stuff, my engine dying, I've had very strong vibration and issues without the whole truck. As in, like, it's like I'm going over railroad tracks with uneven everything for the last 50 yards of coming to a stop or something. Like, serious. I mean, just rattling, just absolute beating me up, and it's in a particular way as well. It's there's howling noises. There's been just a number of different things, and I know I'm slightly overdue for a rear diff fluid change, which I'm currently doing right now, obviously. But I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, I know 70% of my braking power is on the front axle. Maybe it's one of my calipers locking up. Maybe my anti-lock brake system is malfunctioning. This thing is lasting just for forever. So, just thinking through all this, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to jack up the front of the truck. I'm going to check both tires and to see which one is more has more resistance. Is there any? Is there, a ridiculous amount? Like, are my rotors? My rotors are already abused a little bit, but it's been a long time since they were, since when my hub assemblies died and caused issues with my rotors. I have brand new rotors sitting in the garage right now. I just haven't got around to it. So I'm just trying to figure out, where is this vibration coming from? I'm assuming it's my brakes. I'm assuming it's my braking system. So I'm doing scans on the Blue Driver scanner that I have. Check that video out if that can be a help to you for diagnosing your vehicle issues. But no codes for braking system stuff. Nothing else is going on. So I'm like, okay. I'm still going to see if, the analog brake system is only going to engage on certain areas where you're actually losing traction, gaining traction, whatever, depending on the tires, and also when your speed sensors get so gummed up that they can't read the intermittent, sensor that's reading the speed of the tire, which then means you've probably usually the reason for that is your hub assembly has disintegrated to the point where you have that magnet that's the speed sensor I believe this rear axle is, I think it's just a hair under 5 quarts or it's 7. I cannot remember. I'm guessing it's closer to the 7. I bought 7 just in case. It's been a while since I've replaced this. So we're going to be here for a little bit. But so I'm like, okay, well maybe it could still be my caliper, one of the pistons seizing up. So I checked the lines. Hey, are the lines crimped? Are there any issues? Do I have a leak? Is there potentially any craziness for why I'm having all this vibration? Feeling, and I got to say at the beginning, I was feeling vibration just all around. It was not specifically anywhere. I didn't notice enough that it was in a certain position or area of the truck to really get it down to a science, on what's going on. So I replaced my front left caliper because I noticed when I had both of them up on jacks, the front left had the most resistance. That piston actually was going, so I'm glad I replaced that. The bottom one or whatever, technically. I tried to press it and it was not really wanting to go. So I'm like, okay, well, I at least fixed that problem. It was going to be a problem down the road. It's been a long time since I've replaced that. I replaced that when my wheel hub assembly blew up before I even started the channel, I believe. And so, yeah, so I replaced that. Still no luck. Still crazy vibration, crazy issues. Let's see if the chat, if anybody said anything. Hello, Daniel. Sorry to hear about your truck. I heard Fairwinds has a light duty used at 450. He'd sell you. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm good on the Fords there. They may be more expensive and Rams might be cheaper, but I think Rams are much easier to work on, in my opinion. Everything is going to die. It's just a matter of when and how costly it's going to be. And I believe Rams are much cheaper to be able to work on and to do the work. It's easier to do the work and cost effective. And I would just say I have over 600, I have exactly, well, not exactly, I have 613,000 miles on my truck. Most of the parts that have gone bad while I have had this channel, because I've been driving for over 5 years now, most of the parts that I've had on this channel are parts that are dying for the very first time, which means I started this channel when I had like 400 and some change thousand miles, and there's parts going bad for the first time just now at 613 or whatever. And I'm okay with parts dying at 400, 500, 600,000 miles. I got my money's worth. This feels kind of good resting my head. So anyway, so I replaced my front left. I did not make a video on that, by the way. I think I already have, maybe somewhere, somehow. Maybe I did on the duals or something. I've got a video on a caliper somewhere. But replaced the front left one. Then I'm like, oh, well, I still have the same issue. I'm having problems still. Maybe it was the front right. Maybe I just wasn't able to figure it out. I don't know. So I replaced my front right one because I can't remember the last time I replaced that or when I replaced that. I don't think I've replaced it more than once. So I'm like, I'm just going to replace this just to have, both of them were done at the same time. That's helpful for me to know. It's not that expensive, didn't take that long. So both calipers got completely finished, good to go. I get out on the road, still have issues. Hold on, pause, let's see. Hold on, USA True. Gus, what's going on, sir? Well, you can see where I'm at. I wouldn't mind a 5-gallon bucket of water to be thrown in my face right now. Uh, what year is your truck? 2012. 2012, pre-def. Thank the Lord for that. And yeah, front drive shaft or front axle U joints. Not front axle U joints, but we'll get to it. So both calipers issues, both calipers replaced. I'm driving, and I'm thinking, okay, what else could it be? I was about to say, my next thought was, because I generally just felt it in the front of the truck, and I didn't really think about, do I feel it first in the rear, or do I feel it first in the front, and then it vibrates throughout the whole truck, or where is the vibration starting at? Where's the pinpoint at? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen. So, well, actually, I'm skipping myself. Hold on, sorry. My next thought was that the vibration is still in the front. Maybe it's my steering linkage. Maybe it's my tie rod assembly, going from tire to tire and then up to the steering gear. Maybe it's the tie rod's getting so loose, it's to the point where my tires aren't aimed the same direction because things are messed up. Maybe it's even at a dangerous, critical point where it's, one of them's going to snap off. I'm going to have two wheels going different directions. Who knows? So I'm thinking, okay, I need to buy a new steering assembly, linkage, whatever you want to call it, tie rod ends, assembly, because it comes in a one assembly if you want to, which I have done, because it's just easier. Especially after death wobble and those issues that I've experienced from my track bar going bad. I've got videos on that as well. So, and I'm like, wait a second. I was driving around, so as I'm thinking, it's my front. Right before I was about to go into O'Reilly's and pick up the assembly, I was thinking, man, I don't think that this shaking and this vibration is coming from. It is coming from the front. I think it's coming from the back, and it's starting to make its way up to the front. So I told O'Reilly's, hey, I'm bailing on your steering assembly, whatever, tie rod assembly, and it's Ford. So I'm assuming we're gonna find out real quick on this, or 2 quarts later, we'll be close to the 7. There we go. So, bingo. So I, oh man, I bring the truck home. I did not buy the steering assembly. I jack up both dualies, and I have my wife put it in drive, and I just watch, looking, what's going on here? What's shaking? What's making noise? I want to be able to see it while somebody else is securely, safely checking everything out in the cab. So, oh dear. I have I mentioned that I'm not a mechanic, and I'm a YouTube mechanic. I'm a search and ask questions and just find out. And yes, I have replaced a lot of things before I find the root cause. A lot of times, but once I do, I know I tear everything apart and learn everything about that part, so that I actually know what I'm talking about, so I can actually share with people. So I went from just backing up here. I went from originally a front caliper to the vibration's not even coming from the front. It is vibrating in the front of the truck as well, but it's starting in the rear. And that's my fault for not taking a more serious, attention to detail, really thinking through, asking all the different types of questions we have got to ask ourselves. Um, so I, oh man, had it jacked up, run the tires, and crazy shaking, shuddering, a howling noise almost in the rear. And I'm like, oh my word, this is troubling. And then I realized the reason why I said all that is I see my left dually tires stop spinning, and yet my right dually tires continue to spin. And my first thought was, oh my word, my axle is broken. I've got major issues because it starts off spinning and then it stops. Shouldn't they both be spinning? And my buddy informed me after talking with him, no, dude, there's a reason why usually it's your rear right tire, whatever part of the axle, that always keeps power, and your left one is more intermittent because it's got to be able to, when you turn, it's not going to, what is it called? I can't think of the word. You've got to be able to turn instead of absolutely beat yourself to death. It's as if you were in four-wheel drive and you make a turn. There's going to be some type of rocking and bouncing and stuff because all four tires are going the same rotation, and yet you're turning, which requires less rotation. So he's like, no, dude, that's on purpose. It's supposed to be intermittent like that. So I'm like, oh my word, I'm an idiot. How he will hop and eat your tires? Exactly, Sean. I can't remember the word he used for that. I did not know that. I feel like an absolute idiot for not knowing, but it is what it is because I'm learning every day. I'm only knowledgeable in things I've already had struggles with and then got on the other side of. And so I'm never going to try to tell you something that I don't already know. But yeah, just felt ridiculous there. But I'm like, okay, well, oh man. So that's actually not a problem. That's a good thing that's stopping and not continuing to go. If I were to put it in four-wheel drive and that did that, that would be a problem, not what was currently going on. So definitely appreciated my buddy Ed for talking me through that. But then in the process of all that, as my wife was in the driver's seat and now that I'm no longer flipping out about the tires turning or not on the left rear, I see my drive shaft, my rear drive shaft from the differential to the carrier bearing to my transfer case and my transfer case shaking. But the worst of the noise and everything was at the rear, at the diff. So I'm going, oh, that's scary. I've already replaced the transfer case a couple 100,000 miles ago, something like that. Really don't want to do that again. I think I almost feel confident enough to be able to do it myself. I don't know. But there's no noise from the transfer case. Four-wheel drive works. That's not the problem. Why is it shaking? Why is it vibrating? Why is all these things happening? And so I'm starting to look at, oh, well, maybe it's and I'm going to say it wrong, I'm sure the pinion bearing assembly. Probably didn't say that right. Limited slip. That's it. That's it. Limited slip on that for the rear. Oh, somebody else said something. Dual cardan. Good luck with the prayers. I had a 16. They had a 45-foot Jayco that scaled 25,000 earlier today. Tomorrow deliver in Pittsburgh, then off to Goshen. Oh my word! Stay safe out there, man. I'm showered, fed, and looking at the bed. Have a good night. All in USA. Have a good one, man. Appreciate you. um, so I've got my drive shaft just absolutely bouncing all over the place. I checked the carrier bearing. That was replaced for the first time, like 50,000 miles ago or something. That's perfectly fine, no damage. Transfer case itself was fine. The transmission was fine. It was being even vibrated all the way to the front of the truck like that, but starting in the rear and making other howling noises, other noises in general back here at the diff. So I'm like, oh my word, what's happening at the back diff? This is not cool. And so my buddy said, hey, it's either the actual axle uh, rod, whatever the word is, that you pull out from the side of the axle that goes into the actual um, spindle inside the diff and all that, or it's the actual. Oh my word! I don't know all the words. I do my best here, but the the actual end of the drive shaft going into the differential to turn the actual gears. Maybe it's that. It's maybe it's not the left or the right side having an issue, but it's the whole thing. And so essentially, getting it down to it's probably the pinion bearing, um, and or maybe it's the fluid. When's the last time you changed your fluid? Well, as I said at the beginning, racket pinion, yes, yes, yes. As I said at the beginning, or a while ago, I have not replaced I'm overdue for replacing my diff fluid in my truck. So I pulled off my cover, and what do you know? I've got bubbles. This fluid has been rode hard, put away, less wet than it should be. Major problem. Major problem here. So let it pour out. Looked absolutely horrible. Cleaned up as much as I could. Looked at the magnet. My magnet here had just the normal amount of very, very limited little shavings. No actual pieces. I looked with a flashlight all over the inside. Couldn't find anything else. So best case scenario is the fluid wasn't lubricating everything properly, and therefore it wasn't getting whatever the word would be taken care of, to where it's causing things to go out of whack. I think worst case scenario right now, I believe, is that it's the pinion bearing along with a fluid leak on the front of the seal. There was, yeah. She's really scared because my truck is doing the same thing. I've got nearly 3 G's spent and still not fixed right. Oh dear. Oh, Sean. Is this bottle eternal? Like, what? I've been pumping for years, I feel like. This does not end. So, because the shaking, I believe, is starting at the back here, because I saw the foamy fluid in this differential here, because I've never replaced my pinion bearing in the back here. It's never been replaced. 613,000 miles later, it has never been replaced. Um, I think that's my problem. The seal, yeah, pinion seal leak. Um, yeah. Oops. Are we still back? Okay. Just got a phone call. So I believe it is the pinion bearing and fluid. Oh, we are overflowing. We are overflowing. Good deal. That's the money right there, folks. Without shooting this everywhere, we're going to. Oh, man. I gotta get another paper towel. Uh, so, so I believe it's the bearing that's making the crazy noise, as well as very, very little metal shavings, minimal in the fluid, the fluid breaking down, the bearing gone bad for the first time in 600,000 miles. Um, I believe that is the issue. If that's not it, then and it's the actual gearing inside of this, really not looking forward to that possibility. Um, so the game plan right now. Also, I don't think there was that much. I think I had lost fluid, obviously because of my seal break in the front. Um, my plan is right now is to seal this up, clean it up, put on the left rear tires, let it run here on um, the stands here for some time, let the gearing get let everything get lubricated, and see how it goes. Um, I already have made an appointment because um, the proper torque specs for, as I mentioned in Fair Winds and Falling Seas live video, the torque specs on the pinion bearing and all that. I've looked at that stuff before. I've already made the decision. I am not going to be um, replacing that side until someone shows me, and then I have the I feel like I have the comfortability to do it myself. I'm not going to be doing that because if you torque it to not down hard enough or too much, you will destroy your gearing. So I am not doing that myself, and there's not that many videos on YouTube of people doing a full, complete, specifically for our truck at least, um, showing all that. So um, that's not my department, and I'm okay to say that. Yeah. So let's see. And she'll for Jasper makes a replacement reman rear. Never had issues with Jasper. Or have had trouble with engine. Gotcha. Okay, Tim. I appreciate that. Yeah, things go completely south with this rear end. I have looked at Jasper as well in the past, so I will definitely be thinking about going with them. It's funny, actually, in Lafayette, there is a Dana plant, the Dana axles that we have. I believe this is an actual Dana, the manufacturer of these. Um, there's the plant's literally in Lafayette, so I don't know if I could even get one just for a residential customer, not a commercial customer. But it's just kind of neat to know that we've got axles here. But so we'll see what goes on with this. At the very least, I think fluid has a big part to do with these issues. Things not being lubricated. Now the big question is it too far gone that I've allowed this to not be lubricated and I've had this leak and I've had issues to the point where other things are torn up that I have to replace other parts. At this point, I'm wondering, I'm hoping if I can get away with this fluid lubricating everything and getting everything, back on track. That's the hope. I'm not I'm not banking on that. Oh, it's Dana. Oh, let's see. Dana Rear. You find videos on a YouTube video. It may different man. Change fluid, not going to fix it. Okay, I got you, Tim. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that. But I'm thinking at least the bearing. Additional to that is going to be the case. If not just the bearing and fluid, then we're looking at bigger stuff, which I am not looking forward to. So we shall see, one thing at a time. I'm going to go ahead and end this live here, I think. I'm going to get this all cleaned up, get my plug back in, and get the tires back on and see how it goes. It's one of those things. I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of people actually needing a dumpster right now, and I don't have a truck. So yeah, just trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to be doing in the meantime. Borrow a truck, buy a used truck. We'll see. So this truck does have over 600,000 miles on it, and that with that comes a certain level of unreliability in some parts that haven't been replaced, and other parts that are probably brand new. And it's as if it's brand new now. I've replaced a lot of different parts because I'm learning as I'm going. I've had looking better and better. Yeah. I've really learned a lot with this truck. I've learned a lot of different systems, just in general, on having to do with trucks and vehicles in general. I've been able to implement a lot of things I've learned from this truck to my other vehicle, to my wife's vehicle. I've been able to help people out with brake system, with AC systems. RIP to Fair Winds and Following Seas air conditioner. There's just it's on here. There's a lot of things that come with this, and I don't know if I'm ready to give up this truck just because I know it so well, or after just saying everything I just said, maybe I don't know it so well, but the thought of getting another truck and learning all of its issues, or things that have already gone bad, or different issues, not knowing the history of things. I know the history of this truck so well, and I'm confident in so many different areas, and I just continue to add to my arsenal of different different knowledge, different bits and pieces of information to really know what I'm doing on this truck, despite each time it seems like, what in the world? I have no idea. But at the end of it, after I've come out on the other side, I'm like, okay, well, because everything went wrong possible, I now know everything that could go wrong in the future, and I can help other people. And if it pops up for me again, I know what's going on. I know what to do. I know what tools I need. I know how long it's going to take. So it's just one of those things. So I'm going to shut it down here, I think. Get things cleaned up a bit. We've got parts all over here. Yeah, I will keep you guys up to date and let you know what's going on. Let's see here. A couple people popped in. While towing my 14 Ram, rear end felt like it was going out. Dealer told me to change the diff fluid from 80 to 90 and use 75 140 instead, and problem solved. Oh wow, Corey and Susie, that's very cool. Very cool. Changing the fluid. Going to a what is that? Going up a number, that's a thinner fluid, I believe, right? That's not a thicker. The viscosity of it, it's going to be less, I believe. I think. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go, guys. Thanks for hopping in here, for killing time with me, pumping in these 7590 is what I've always used on the diff, and I think it's the same in the front. I can't remember. I think so. But yeah, I will let you guys go. Have a great weekend. Uh, hopefully we get this thing put together. So let's see here. Slow Momentum, what's going on, sir? White Barn Farms, maybe a low mileage 2012 is what you need. If I can find it, and it's not a cajillion dollars, that'd be neat. Put her down, Daniel. Get it. Oh my word. Try it. It will help. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Progressive Construction. Hey man, you'll have to see the madness that I'm about to shut it down right now. But we've been here about an hour, and I've kind of talked through a couple different things. One video is going to be covering my fuel issue, and maybe I'll do a video talking about this and try to just give some overall helpful thoughts in just diagnosing things or how not to diagnose things, because I literally replaced other parts instead of fixing the problem. And I'm learning as I go. So yeah, I will catch you guys later. Have a good one, guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you later. I gotta figure out how to turn off the live from my phone. I never do. Oh, here we go. Have a good one, guys. See ya.